and welcome to the Bucket List Show. I'm Tammy Crandell with Journey Venture Travel and Tours and Barron Real Estate, and I'm here with my co-host Rebecca Danise. I'm providing real estate services through Barron Real Estate as well, focusing on property management. And we are so excited to have another guest in our studio today. But before we introduce you to our wonderful guest, I just want to go over the intention of our show, the Bucket List Show. We've talked about this. It is to serve you so that we can help you fill your bucket to live your most abundant life. And what does that mean for you or for us? That really is about providing great content, great ideas of things to help improve your home, your family, your life, and your livelihood. So, without further ado, we're going to welcome Roy DeGannes with Self. Thank you for coming.
Welcome.
Thank you for coming, Roy.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to have you. So tell us, what does SELF stand for? What does that represent?
Yes, SELF stands for Solar and Energy Loan Fund.
Okay.
And so we're able to provide innovative options for homeowners to do necessary improvements that will help lower their energy costs, ultimately go green, and at the end of the day possibly go solar. So,
and that's a very hot topic in today's environment and climate, especially when cost of things are rising. We're always looking for ways to try to save a little bit of money, but at the same time, to have a nice good footprint within the space that we're sitting in. So we're going to talk a little bit about these things. So talk to me a bit about what the mission of the Solar Energy Loan Fund is.
Okay, great. Again, it all started with, the cost, like you mentioned, of going up, everything rising, especially the cost of energy. It's gone up consistently over the last, 15 years, every year, at least 5%, average of increase. So, obviously our paychecks don't go up that fast.
That's true.
And so it catches up to what we can afford. So a lot of new innovative ways have helped us to, and also reduce our footprint, our carbon footprint, because we are one of the highest energy users in the world, United States of America. So we got to find ways to conserve and be more careful how we use our energy. Of course. And so the organization was started by St. Lucie County, Commissioner Doug Howard, and the mission was basically to provide affordable financing for those homeowners that can't gain access to the same financing as someone with great credit or what have you be able to.
And it really has grown exponentially. We've talked about this in the past. And so talk to us a little bit about the leadership within the organization itself.
Absolutely. We got great leadership. Our organization was put together, obviously, by the St. Lucie County Commissioner. The U.S. Department of Energy provided a grant in 2009 in order for the program to get started. And County Commissioner at the time, Doug Howard, was one of the founders in getting the organization started in St. Lucie County. Okay. And so he's obviously been the executive director and leader for over the last 12 years, and has allowed this organization to really expand to where it is today. And now we also added DeWan Andrade, who's a professional, who's been in the nonprofit and fundraising space, internationally. Yes. And so she's come over and allowed us to grow exponentially over the last few years too.
So what areas does the Solar Energy Loan Fund cover within the state of Florida? Is it strictly in Florida, or?
That's a great question. We started obviously in the state of Florida, so we cover the whole state, but we've also expanded into Georgia, also North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama, and Tennessee.
Fantastic.
So is this a national? Or is it? It's not just county level.
That's a great, absolutely. It's not just county level. We've expanded. We actually went into these. We started county, well, not county, but statewide. Okay. We were certified by the U.S. Department of Treasury as a CDFI, which stands for Community Development Financial Institution.
Right. Okay.
And so we're able to loan funds in the community. After we had so much success just in Florida, other
mirrored it.
Yeah, wanted to find out what we were doing, and so we were able to open up in different areas, partner with different organizations in different states.
If a customer applies, do they have to be owner occupied, or could it be a second home or investment home? What's the parameters?
Yes, as long as you're the owner of the property. It could be owner occupied, or it could be rental property, or something investment property and whatever you have.
Okay, good. That's a nice advantage too, especially with everybody's moving around. And is it need based on income?
And no, it's not based on income. It's just based on two things: the ability to pay and your most recent history.
Gotcha.
Okay,
So-
credit history.
And that's a
Exactly.
little
Okay.
different than a standard banking model, right?
Sure,
Absolutely.
Which
Yeah.
certainly gives an avenue that some people just don't fit into that banking space. I've worked with them in the past. We talked about that when they were in that growth stage, and what an exciting time to be a part of something like Self. So, so what are the types of product services that one can utilize with a Self loan?
Well, it started again with solar energy, right? That was the main thing to help people go green. But what we realized going into the homes that people just needed more than just solar. A lot of people had older air conditioners that just wasn't efficient. Those jostle windows, those thin windows, wasn't really helping them to keep the energy, inside the air inside the home. And we were able to go to our board and open it up for all these other improvements, but it's mission based. So that would be energy efficiency. So that would be air conditions, weatherization products, stuff, installation, weatherization products that you would put in the home to help keep the energy inside the home. And then we also do wind resiliency. So that would be like windows, doors,
That's good too.
things that would help the home to be more sturdy, stucco.
Okay.
A lot of these houses are wood frames, so we're able to do, wood, replace the wood, the plywood in
Oh,
the homes.
gotcha.
Yes,
Okay.
because they rot after
Okay.
a while, so we're able to do that. Plumbing, so we can cover pipes, things that, toilets, low flow toilets, things that help the conserve water
Right,
conservation.
right.
So it kind of opened it up to a lot.
And I'm sure that really has made an impact. We've got, some areas within the county here that have had, some of these homes are well over 50 years old.
Yeah, it's an older inventory.
Yes, exactly. So of course, as things have changed to code, and those things are very expensive to get changed or updated. So being able to work with an organization that can help someone qualify. Now, you mentioned that there is no credit qualification necessarily, but income.
Yes, there is a credit qualification, but not credit score driven. So
Okay.
so that's what we like to focus on. We're not credit score driven like most finance companies are.
So you're
Right.
looking at the actual credit report like the old days.
Correct. We're looking at
Absolutely.
exactly what they have on the credit. We're looking at their recent history. So, like I mentioned earlier, some people may have lost a job,
Yeah.
went through a divorce,
Right.
medical situation where they kind of was pandemic, where they were in a situation where they wasn't able to hold on to their obligations, but they caught back on, and then we
Oh,
give them a
good.
little period of time to show that they're
Able to make back up.
Right.
up, making the payments, they're on time with everything. And so we don't look at their score, we just look at where they're at currently.
Okay.
Okay.
Do they have the ability to repay? So we do the minus budget,
Yep.
expenses, and income. We
Right.
verify it. And then so we give them a cushion to where we don't take everything that they have
Right,
left
yeah.
over. We leave a certain
Right.
percentage, so that way they have some left over, and then that's what we're able to loan. And the good thing about it is we're able to loan them at reasonable rates opposed to what they would get if they went to
An
a
outside
secondary
finance.
company or something like that. So, or use a credit card. A lot of people
Yeah.
have options,
Sure.
but those options can be way more costly. So we're able to step in, provide an affordable loan for them, and allow them to be able to pay it back.
Do you put a lien on the property as like a second mortgage or just a lien on the property?
There's no liens.
No lien on
no
the
lien
property.
attachments is
Okay.
unsecured loan. So it'll be almost like a credit card.
Okay.
Or-
What's the repayment schedule?
It depends on the product, but we
Okay,
can
good.
go from anywhere between 3-year payback all the way to 10 years.
Nice.
Oh, very good.
And with solar, we can go longer.
Of course.
Just mainly a lot of the regular products that we talked about, air conditions, and we're able to stretch it out.
Well, that
to
makes
10
sense because, you're giving back to the community. That's going to compound. They're going to save, even though there's lots of new construction here. There is an older inventory that you do want to take care of.
yeah.
Oh yeah, if you don't mind
Absolutely.
me throwing something in there, like myself, I use the program for my house.
Nice.
I bought a 1971 home, and so they have the old windows. Everything was pretty much old, and what I did was I updated my roof, and I was able to put because certain codes are different, so I was able to put a third nail in a strap,
Oh, gotcha.
which gives you a credit for wind mitigation with your insurance.
Oh, gotcha.
Because my home was older, my insurance was over $3,000 a year,
Wow.
and it went down to it was 2,700, but it went down to like 1,300
Oh, what a
a
difference.
year. Oh, it's big.
That's
And,
huge.
and that's really kind of the information that we want to share with the
Well,
bucket
and that's
list.
exactly it. People may
I
not
wouldn't
be
have thought
aware.
that would have been such a big
Yep.
thing.
Absolutely.
Do you help the customers get their permits, or do you have a list of vendors So
Yes,
you guide them with
absolutely.
that
We
too?
work with, we have over, I would say, it's a total of 800 contractors throughout our whole network.
Right.
Gotcha.
In these, obviously various states we're in. State of Florida, we're probably at about over 400 contractors in the state of Florida, 450
nice.
contractors or more. Keep adding every day in the state of Florida. We work with those contractors by vetting them to make sure they have a proper license, insurance. They have a good track record
Good. And that's
before we would
important.
allow them to become a part of our network.
Gotcha.
And all our clients are required to go within the network to use a contractor opposed to outside.
Okay, 'cause, yeah, especially today's environment with scams and,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
you know, someone just may not be, sure. But how does it impact if you're going to put solar on a roof that's fine? Do you need permits? Do you need to tell your insurance company? Because now you're touching, it could impact that structure that's already there.
Absolutely. The way it works is it depends on the homeowner's insurance that you're under. They are required to cover that. It may give you an increase in cost depending on how the size of your system, because they have different type of tiers systems. So if you have a smaller system, medium size,
Okay.
or full size system, so that the insurance company will actually kind of step in and tell you what the situation is. But you do obviously tell your insurance
Okay.
company, because it's technically in most cases covered under the insurance because it's attached to the roof.
Okay.
Right.
Good.
So
right.
if the roof goes, the solar goes, so it's
Right,
all
yeah.
combined. So that's why you could see an increase in your insurance
Okay.
based on the liability of the panels, but it just depends on how big your system is.
Neat.
And this is a great program. The interest rates can vary based on the type of program that you're going into, whether it's a small project or a much larger project like a roof.
Yeah.
So of course that varies for them. Rates are pretty competitive with what banks are offering. And like you said, the guidelines or parameters are really wrapped around what is a more realistic thing. I mean, unfortunately, bad things happen to good people sometimes. Like you said, medical
Absolutely.
issues cropped up. Now they're having a hard time, and the worst thing that can happen when they've got a medical issue is, their AC dies,
Right.
and now they have no way to replace it because it's put them in the tank. So. But we've got a lot more we're going to talk about, but we're going to take a quick break for about 2 minutes, and then we will come back and ask you some more questions.
Thank you.
Are you looking to buy, sell, or lease your commercial property? Do you want to sell your business? Do you need a property manager? The Jeremiah Barron & Company commercial real estate experts have managed over $1 billion in commercial real estate transactions. Our agents focus on each client's specific needs to deliver results. For more information, visit treasurecoastcommercialrealestate.com. Located in St. Lucie West, Barron Academy is a private school that caters to students with autism and other unique needs. Barron Academy hosts grades K to 8, offering paced lessons and smaller class sizes guided by a passionate team of experienced educators. Curriculums are tailored to each student's abilities, which builds confidence while nurturing learning. For more information, visit exceptionalacademymypsl.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Rebecca Danise, the co-host of The Bucket List with Tammy. Today we are here with Roy, and we're going to continue on. So one of the questions I have for you, completely naive. So I get solar panels on my house. Then what? Like, do I sell it? Do I work with Florida Light and Power? Like, what's the next step? So,
Yeah, different power companies have different requirements.
Okay.
But you would, once you have the solar installed, you would notify the power company and let them know that this is that you installed solar in your house.
Okay.
They would actually come out and they switch the meters, because you have a meter right now,
Okay.
but this is called a smart meter. It's a different type of meter, and that meter is to track the amount of solar that your panel
that's
is
coming
creating.
in, right? Okay.
Yeah,
And
and
then what's going out?
Correct.
Okay.
So, the power is, the power is so strong that it takes a small amount of power to power your home, and then the remaining power has to go back into the grid. So, technically, your meter's going backwards during the day,
Okay.
because you're
Okay.
putting power back into the grid.
Okay. So what percentage
use it
would
at
you
night.
say a consumer could save on, energy, just like an estimate.
Yeah, it depends on the amount of panels you do. You can do any as much as you want because every panel has a certain amount of energy it creates. So you can customize a system to whichever amount of energy you want. If you want $100 worth of electricity to come off your bill, you can set up where $100 worth of electricity comes out your bill. If you want to do the whole home where you might have a $250 bill and you want to reduce that, then you get a lot of panels to cover the amount of power that it costs to do 250. So technically, it's up to you. They usually recommend that you do up to 85% because you don't want to overcompensate for what you have, and you still have to be connected to the grid. In these states nowadays, so you still have a service fee and things like that. So you just kind of want to try
But
to.
85% really can
pretty
make a
good.
difference. And
Oh, yeah.
obviously, when you put it with all these other things, it does compound. Is there a restriction on the property type? Could it be like a mobile home or a manufactured home or condo?
That's a great question. We actually do mobile homes and condos, which most people don't. So
Okay,
yeah,
that's a
most
big
banks don't
need.
do it. So yeah, we can technically do it. I mean, I don't see a lot of solar going in those places,
Right.
but they have a need for. I mean, everything from air conditions to roofs to just to fix siding.
The windows
The
are probably
windows.
the old
windows,
crank
the
up
hurricane
and-
impact.
Absolutely,
that makes a big
absolutely.
difference.
So it definitely makes a difference.
And on a single-family house or a condo, do you cover the garage door? Is that part of it too?
Yes, that's with
Okay.
resiliency. So
Okay.
garage doors is also under that
Perfect.
portfolio.
So how does Self make a determination? It's very easy for us as a consumer to come in and say, hey, I heard that, solar panels are a great thing for me to have. What is the process at that point when, do you just come in and say, okay, Tammy wants solar panels, so we're going to get her solar panels, right?
Sure.
But I don't think it's quite that simple, right?
No, you always want to find the client's needs basis because you want to. Everybody's looking for the best ROI, which is return on your investment, right?
Right.
Everybody knows that in different industries. So it's the same thing in your home. Your goal is to reduce your costs overall in your home as you retire, so that way you don't have that extra cost. Like you want to get rid of
Exactly.
your mortgage, you
Right.
want to get rid of all your payments. So you look at how you can lower your costs the fastest, and we understand it in air condition. So we go in a home and we do what's like a need assessment.
Okay.
We find out what the client is looking to do. Most of them are going to say either they're trying to lower their bill,
Yeah.
or they're trying to protect their assets from hurricanes,
Right.
storm resiliency, shutters, and different things that they might need. Also plumbing, different cast iron pipes, they rust out, so people
Right.
get leaks and things. So they're really on a need basis for the product. And so we're just there to kind of give them an education on they're quicker they're going to get on their return on their investment by adding this product. And so if we
Okay.
go into a home and somebody needs, saying they want solar, but they have a old air condition that's maybe close to 20 years old, we'll tell them, say, hey, if you upgraded your air condition with the newer SEER, qualifications and requirements, your bill technically, and we've done this research because we've done all of the the evaluations
Of course.
from homeowners. We used to go back and find out what their bill is now compared to what it was. And we realized that if you put a high efficiency AC unit in your home, your bill can go down 15 to 20%.
Yeah.
Add
Right.
weatherization to that, now you're up to 23 to 25%.
Right. So you can actually help them kind of lay out a plan to increase their efficiency, but to do it in a smart manner.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Even if you just look in Port St. Lucie and, Jensen and, Vero all the way up, there is a lot of housing inventory.
Sure.
And, people want to buy that and may not want, new construction based on need, but the idea that they could improve and maybe their property will appreciate in value versus, having it start getting depleted with everything, that makes a big difference. I mean, people expect a home to have these certain things, but it's a proactive way versus being reactive once the hurricane comes. And then,
Right.
there you go. So,
Now,
Absolutely.
has Self, with that thought in mind about being proactive, I'm sure, has Self been in a position to help people who were more in a reactive position, where maybe they had some damage
Yeah.
sustained from a hurricane or things of that nature?
Absolutely. That's what's so great about our leadership. And going back to leadership, Doug Coward as well as Juan Andretti, is that they're looking to find out how our mission-based lending can really fit into different type of needs, right? And so one of those is the hurricane. So what they did was they provided a loan that was a hurricane loan, and we were able to step in. We didn't have to require as many of the documents and things that we needed, because a lot of people were not even in their home anymore, so they didn't have a lot of these things.
Right.
It was hard for them to get these things, so we were able to kind of look at their situation, gather what we can get, and provide them with a loan, which they actually deferred the payments for 1 year.
Oh,
Okay.
wow, that's fantastic.
So these folks who were,
like
on the
a
West
construction
Coast that
loan.
were hit, so it was a hurricane loan that was in certain areas that was hit really hard by the hurricane, mostly on the West Coast.
Okay.
And we had some here as well, so we were able to extend it, to some of the homeowners
Well,
in this
that's
area.
fantastic.
Yeah, but it was really big, and a lot of people really benefited from that. I had a lady who a tree fell on her car, in her house, and so she was in a situation where she couldn't really even go nowhere and do
Right, yeah.
anything, and so
She
we
was
were able
trapped.
to give her a loan, to get the stuff that she needed to get the car, and also get her roof fixed.
Oh, that's great.
Do you manage the money as far as making sure the work gets done?
Correct.
Okay, so
Yep.
it's divvied out as it goes.
Project management.
Okay.
Yeah, we do a project management, and the contractor gives us a timetable on when it can get done. We actually hold them to that, and then once the project is completed, we pass inspections, reviews, notify the client, and then once all that's done, we pay the contractor.
And that's a big asset too, because someone like me, I wouldn't know where to begin. But if you have a database with licensed and insured vendors, then at least that probably gives me a little
Right.
bit of soundness for the consumer
Well, and
too.
that's part of the oversight with Self,
Yeah.
is that they're going to make sure that they've got partners in place to protect their asset, which is the cash that they're lending, right?
Absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
yep. Because a lot of contractors, they're working, but we notice that a lot of contractors will say start on a job, but they'll take a long time to finish because they'll get some of the money, and then they'll go do another job, and then they'll kind of like move around. But when they don't receive the funds until the work's done, their goal is
They're
to get
gonna
it
work.
done.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's
So
right.
it moves a little bit quicker, and like you said, it protects the assets, because you've heard the story before where the contractor comes in and collects your money, and you never see him again.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of scams
Exactly.
out
And so
there.
Exactly.
that avoids that. So it's been cases where it's almost happened, and we've been able to prevent that.
So oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
If I had a customer who wanted to buy a house and we know it needed the air conditioned roof and all that, is there a way simultaneously they could go to you and say, if I buy it, they could sustain a loan with you, simultaneously when buying it? So that works too. So especially with investment or second homes, at least someone who wants that dream home but maybe can't afford a brand new one, new construction, at least knows they have ability to maintain that property.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's a good option too.
Okay.
And it's
Okay.
cheaper.
Good, good. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up PACE.
Sure.
So,
Yeah,
so let's talk a little bit about PACE.
I'm
What-
not scared of pace.
I know. I figured that. Well, PACE because it ties into
Sure.
your tax base.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just speak just a little bit to that, if you wouldn't
Sure.
mind.
PACE it stands for Property Assessment Clean Energy Program.
Okay.
And St. Lucie County Self is the exclusive provider for PACE in St. Lucie County. You can do it in other counties and use other companies. But what PACE does, it allows that homeowner, let's say they don't have credit, their credit really went down, pretty badly where they really can't get credit anywhere, right? But they have a lot of equity in their property. We find that it's really helpful for a lot of people that own the homes that are elderly, that have fixed incomes, that don't want to add too much on their plate. So PACE allows them to use the equity that they have as a collateral opposed to their credit.
Okay.
They would use that equity, and they will allow them 20% net of that money equity to use towards any improvements that can help with energy efficiency or wind resiliency.
Gotcha.
So you can get roofs, windows, doors, ACs, what have you, under that PACE. Now they'll take the money that for your project, and they'll tack it onto your tax assessment.
Okay.
So you'd pay for that in your taxes.
Annually,
Every year, property
yeah,
taxes.
Property taxes.
Now, a lot of people have mortgages, so they have their property taxes escrowed into their
Right.
mortgage. You can actually have your assessment through PACE put into your escrow.
Oh, that's
if you want.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's
Or
easier
you can-
too.
Yeah, it's
For
easier
people to
that
budget.
way.
Well, that protects the lender, protects the
Yeah,
the
it's-
client, protects the home. So it's a kind of a win-win for everybody.
Correct. So it's a
Okay.
great program for people that are doing kind of bigger projects, and they really want the lowest payment possible.
Right.
Of course.
Because with PACE, you can go 20-year term.
It gets them in
Gotcha.
the property too.
Gotcha.
So we're almost coming to the
Yes.
end. Tell us what states again so everybody listening knows.
Sure. Florida,
Perfect.
Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, and South Carolina.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you're in any of those states, you want to reach out to Self, how would they contact you? Is there a direct phone number?
Sure. You can go to our website, of course, www.solarenergyloanfund.org, or you can give us a call at 772-468-1818.
That's fantastic. Thank you
Perfect.
so much
Thank
for
you.
joining us.
Thank
And for those of you who are either watching or listening, we thank you so much for continuing to be a part of our show. We're always looking for ideas of others to bring on. Thank you so much for being on the show with us today, Roy. And, just to make sure that you reach out, check out our YouTube channel, The Bucket List Show podcast, and make sure you subscribe,
Yes,
and
yes.
then give us ideas. We are
Absolutely.
out here to serve the community, to serve you. And again, that is to serve you, to help you fill your bucket to live your most abundant life. If you need to talk to me, I'm Tammy Crandell, 772-579-9536.
And I am Rebecca Danise. It's 203-482-7297.
See you next time.
Be kind, everybody.